Do you know the rules of a desert radio station? Not the ones in the official manual, but the true rules. The 7 absolute commandments that only the night DJ is permitted to know. You don't? Then you're lucky. But if you listen to the story now, you too will know the rules. And once you know them, you can never forget them. You'll never be able to listen to normal radio again. My name is Michael Davis. 3 nights ago, I spent a night at a desert radio station called Radio Harmony. I learned all 7 rules and broke some of them. To save my girlfriend, no. To save myself. This is the result. Every night at 2:47 a.m., something in a uniform appears outside my apartment window. It laughs, holding an old receipt in its hand, and it whispers, "Will you listen again tomorrow, Michael?" But I need to talk about that night, about everything that began at that small radio station in the desert. It all started 3 days ago on a Friday. I was a typical struggling actor. Big dreams in Los Angeles, but reality was harsh, with endless failed auditions. That's when I found that job posting online. Desert radio station, night DJ wanted, 9 p.m. to 6 in the next morning. No experience necessary, high salary guaranteed. Radio Harmony. I'd never heard the station name before, but the pay was much better than any acting gig I'd had. I called, and an older man, who said he was a former DJ, hired me immediately.
Can you start tonight? I'll even give you a bonus.
That evening, I was driving through the desert. My GPS lost signal halfway, and I just had to keep going straight on a single road. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I finally saw a gigantic radio tower. It was an old, rusty tower. It creaked eerily with every gust of wind. Below it hung a sign that read Radio Harmony on a small building. A key with Ben written on it hung from the front door knob. Ben? My name is Michael. The small unease already spread through my chest. Inside, as expected, it was a small, functional space. An office, a DJ booth, a tiny restroom. The equipment was old, 80s style, but luckily the coffee maker worked. Dust had accumulated, making it feel untouched for years. The hiring manager had said,
You'll be alone at night. We don't broadcast during the day.
On the office desk, there was an operation manual. I opened it and found a piece of paper tucked inside. Ben Morris was boldly written at the top, followed by a list. Radio Harmony Night Rules. Always answer the phone. Play the midnight record at exactly 12 a.m. Never create dead air silence. Do not open the door for those who knock twice. Play the farewell song at the end of your shift. Do not leave the station during your shift. Deliberately blacked out. Unreadable. I gasped. The 7th rule. That part alone was thickly blacked out with ink. It looked like someone desperately tried to hide it. This is strange. My name is Michael, so why does it say Ben Morris? And what is this blacked out rule? A bad feeling coursed through my entire body. However, the remaining rules didn't seem too difficult. Answer the phone. Keep the music playing. Play a specific song in the middle of the night. That should be basic for a radio DJ, I told myself. I moved to the DJ booth, and the same rules were taped to the desk. They must be really important, I thought as I powered up the equipment. Looking at the clock, it was 8:55 p.m. Broadcast was about to begin. At exactly 9 p.m., I played the station ID, a quaint 4-note melody, followed by a female voice announcing Radio Harmony. It was simple, old-fashioned. The moment the ID finished, the phone rang. Rule 1 popped into my head. I picked up the receiver.
Radio Harmony, we're on air.
The voice on the other end was unexpectedly cheerful. Too cheerful, almost creepy.
Welcome, Ben Morris. I'm looking forward to seeing if you last the night.
I was bewildered. Thank you, but why do you know my name? But the caller had already hung up. Only the cold, mechanical dial tone remained. I hadn't even said my name on air yet, and my name is Michael. Why did he call me Ben? This question weighed like a heavy stone in the back of my mind. Anyway, remembering Rule 3, no dead air, I quickly put on Dancing in the Dark. I thought it was a fitting choice for a desert night. Here's a track from the boss, I said into the microphone. The first hour went smoothly. Between songs, I offered light commentary and trivia, finding my own rhythm. I spoke into the mic as if I was talking to someone driving through the desert or relaxing at home after a long day's work. Sipping coffee, I occasionally reread the rules. I wanted to avoid any mistakes on my first night. Then, while a Steven Tyler song was playing, the phone rang again. I stopped the music and answered. It was the same man's voice.
Can you play track 86?
Track 86? I scanned the song list. Excuse me, what's track 86? The caller's voice suddenly changed. It became filled with anger, as if a switch had been flipped.
It's track 86, you idiot. Don't you even know that kid? Do I have to come over there and show you?
I panicked. I was being yelled at by a stranger, live on air. I couldn't believe this was happening on my first night. Cold sweat trickled down my back. I'm sorry, what do you mean?
On the desk. Are you an idiot or something? It's track 86.
I frantically searched the desk. Beneath some newspaper clippings, I found a cassette tape labeled Track 86. The caller was still yelling. I wondered if such language was okay to broadcast. But when I played the cassette, strange music from woodwind instruments began to play. It was a discordant, ancient melody. It felt like a curse echoing from a distant past, giving me a chilling sensation to the core. There were no lyrics. The caller's voice suddenly softened.
Thank you,
He said, now in a gentle, sleepy voice. Then he hung up. I was trembling. A dull ache lingered in the back of my head. The cassette's playback time was 10 minutes. I figured I'd make some coffee and calm down. But who was that man? Was he just an overly enthusiastic fan of this station? Or was there something wrong with the station itself? As I stood up, I noticed again how old the station was. Dust had piled up as if no one had cleaned it for years. In fact, I'd never met anyone from Radio Harmony in person. Even the hiring manager was just a voice on the phone. He said he was a former DJ, but did he write the rules? And how did he know my name was Ben? Were there many Bens among past DJs? The strange music ended, and the phone rang again. It was definitely the same person. I decided to take the initiative. Who are you? Please tell me your name.
I'm the caller. I've been listening since this station began.
His cheerful voice returned. I was fed up. The drastic shift between this man's cheerfulness and creepiness was grating on my nerves. However, he continued.
Ben, do you know how many serial killers bury their victims in the desert? I've seen it. It's a beautiful thing. Shall I bring one to you?
My patience snapped. Hey, that's really disgusting. I'm hanging up now, and you should go to a hospital. I slammed the phone down violently. The receiver hit the cradle with a harsh sound. The wind outside intensified. The windows rattled, and I could hear sand hitting the glass. But before I could catch my breath, the phone started ringing again. Its persistence sent chills down my spine. Infuriated, I pulled the phone cord from the console. That should stop it from ringing. I didn't want that man on air anymore. Rule 1 said to answer the phone, but from now on, I'd screen calls before broadcasting them. Apologies, listeners. We have some eccentric callers, but please enjoy some classic music. I had to act professional, no matter how strange things got. I queued up song after song. But even with the phone cord pulled out, the phone kept ringing. The receiver was dead, but the phone itself was vibrating wildly. After preparing 30 minutes of songs, I picked up the phone again. My voice was quivering with fear, unable to control it. "What do you want?" I screamed. This time, his voice went beyond anger. It was pure rage. It sounded as if deep hatred was embedded within it.
Listen, kid, you don't hang up on me. You're there for my entertainment. You're just a monkey who went to college to learn acting, right? So dance for me.
At those words, something snapped inside me. It wasn't anger so much as a strong distaste for being insulted and a weariness with the situation. I wasn't anyone's toy. I didn't deserve to be treated like this. I don't know who you think you are, but you have no right to speak to me that way. This is my show. I didn't come here to play games or to be bullied by some. Suddenly, 2 knocks echoed from beyond the booth door. The station was supposed to be empty. I hadn't heard any car approach. The sound came from the middle of the door. Then, the caller began to laugh on the phone. His laugh was filled with pure malice.
Ben, you have no choice.
He said that and then hung up. This time, the phone went completely silent. Without a moment's thought, I queued up track 86 and hit play. The first few seconds were silence. Then, a low humming began. It was a woman's voice, but somehow distorted. It sounded unreal, like it was echoing from underwater. A chill ran down my spine. Something was clinging to this voice.
Midnight record. Midnight record.
The woman kept singing. The melody was beautiful, but its very beauty was unsettling, like a lullaby for the dead. Suddenly, the singing stopped.
Good evening, listeners of Radio Harmony.
The same woman's voice, now speaking clearly, but a deep despair seeped into her tone.
My name is Sarah Henderson. Tonight, I'd like to tell you my final story.
My hands started trembling. Something was wrong. This recording wasn't a normal radio show.
Something is walking around outside. I hear heavy footsteps. But they're not human footsteps.
Sarah's voice was hoarse. I could tell she was trembling with fear.
Something like a goat. No, something much larger than a goat. It has horns and its eyes glow red.
I tried to stop the recording, but my hands wouldn't move, as if I was under a spell.
Help me. Somebody help me. The children are coming back. The children of Harmony are coming.
Behind her, a scratching sound was recorded on the tape, coming from a door. A grating, metallic sound, like claws raking across metal.
No. Stop. Please. Stop.
Sarah's scream echoed in the recording, and then a low growl, a bestial sound, not human.
Off.
The recording cut off. I was drenched in sweat. My heart was pounding like a drum. What was that? Was it just a fabricated recording? Or I heard something move outside. I froze. This wasn't the recording. It was a real sound. Looking out the window, I saw a shadow moving. A large shadow. And 2 red lights stared directly at me. Something with a goat-like head stood outside the window. I held my breath. If I moved, it would notice me. And if it noticed me, the creature was gigantic. It was a head taller than a human, standing on backward jointed legs. Its head was indeed goat-like, but its horns were as thick as human arms, and fangs protruded from its mouth. The most terrifying thing was its eyes. The glowing red eyes clearly possessed intelligence. This wasn't just a beast. It was thinking something, aiming for something. The monster slowly tilted its head, as if trying to sense my presence. Just then, the phone rang. The monster's eyes found me. I dropped to the floor. My heart pounded like a deafening noise. The phone kept ringing.
Answer it, Michael.
The caller's voice echoed through the space, even though I hadn't picked up the receiver.
Answer it now, or else they will come in.
With trembling hands, I picked up the receiver. What is that thing?
It's the price for the rule you broke.
The caller's voice was cold.
I told you not to play track 86.
You said there were 7 rules. You only told me 6.
The 7th rule: never play track 86, because it calls them.
Outside the window, more shadows were gathering. Multiple monsters were converging. Their glowing red eyes multiplied in the darkness.
They are the remains of the children of harmony, those who were once human.
Listening to the caller's explanation, I crawled towards the station's archive room. My head throbbed as if it were splitting. The monsters seemed to be waiting outside, as if for a signal.
In 1983, there was a religious cult nearby called the Children of Harmony.
The caller continued.
They were performing a purification ritual in the desert.
I rummaged through the old filing cabinets in the archive room and found a folder from 1983. My hands trembling, I opened it. There was a newspaper clipping with the headline, "Religious Cult Disappears en Masse in Desert." The article stated that 47 believers had vanished overnight. What happened? I whispered.
They summoned the wrong entity, and they paid the price.
There was a photo, a group photo of the Children of Harmony. Smiling families, children, elderly believers. They were ordinary people, but I froze when I saw the person in the corner of the photo. The same face as the man in the DJ booth's photo was among the believers. His name was listed as Ben Morris, Public Relations. Wait, what's my name? Is it Michael? Or Ben? The caller laughed. A chilling, dry laugh.
Who do you think you are?
My memory was getting blurry. Fragments of the past surged into my mind with a violent headache. Did I really come to this station today? Or had I known this place all along?
You were one of them, Ben. And now you must choose.
I searched further through the files. A record from October 31st, 1983. It contained the log of the last radio broadcast. DJ's name, Sarah Henderson. The same name as the voice on track 86 that I had heard. According to the record, Sarah had made the last broadcast on the night the Children of Harmony vanished. It stated that she was attacked by something that night and died during the broadcast. However, the official record listed it as accidental death due to equipment malfunction.
She tried to tell the truth.
The caller's voice continued.
What the Children of Harmony had summoned and what they had transformed into.
Trembling, I found an even older audio tape. Its label read, Sarah's Last Testimony. I cautiously played it, and Sarah's raw testimony poured out.
The ritual failed. They tried to call angels, but they summoned a demon, and the believers transformed one by one into something not human.
The recording was filled with static, but Sarah's final words were barely discernible.
Someone has to tell this truth. When Radio Harmony becomes active again, they will return. I leave my soul in this station. As a warning, this recording is the only warning I can leave. At 86, it announces they're coming.
The recording ended. Cold sweat ran down my back. Sarah had remained in this station even after death, continuing her warning as track 86.
Now, the time has come for you to choose, Ben,
The caller said.
to reclaim your true memory or to continue living in a lie.
I clutched my head. My memories were confused. Was I really Michael Davis? Or, suddenly, a flashback assaulted me. The scene resurfaced in my mind with a fierce headache. The ritual in the desert. Believers arranged in a circle. A cult leader chanting something in the center. And I was among them. As Ben Morris.
Do you remember now?
The caller's voice softened.
You were the public relations officer for the Children of Harmony. On the night of the ritual, only you escaped.
Why? Only me.
Because you knew the truth. That what the cult leader was trying to summon was a demon, not an angel.
My memory became clearer. That night, while preparing for the ritual, I learned the cult leader's true plan. He intentionally tried to summon a demon, using the believers as sacrifices. I tried to warn them, but no one believed me. So, I escaped alone.
And for 40 years, you've been plagued by guilt.
The caller continued.
So, your mind created a false memory, an imaginary persona called Michael Davis.
Outside the window, the remains of the Children of Harmony began to growl. As if sensing my awakening, their red eyes intensified their glow.
They've been looking for you, Ben, as the last witness. And now, you must choose
What?
to broadcast the truth or to join them. This is your chance for redemption.
I was standing on the brink of despair, but deep within the files, I found a ray of hope. An old recording from the 1950s, titled Gospel Music Collection for Exorcism. According to the records, the founder of this radio station was a devout Christian who had specially recorded gospel music to counter spiritual threats. In that moment, a ray of light pierced through my heart. It wasn't just music. It felt like the only hope in this madness. Can this drive them away?
It's worth a try.
The caller's voice held a glimmer of hope for the first time.
That music has brought order to this desert since long before they began to wander this land. But there's no time. They've started to move.
Outside, I could hear the remains of the Children of Harmony beginning to surround the building. Heavy footsteps clomped around the station. The roar of the sandstorm and their eerie growls mingled together. With trembling hands, I grabbed the gospel recording, and then I started crawling towards the DJ booth. The time for the final battle was drawing near. I crawled into the DJ booth. Outside, the footsteps of the Children of Harmony's remnants were growing steadily louder. The abhorrent sound of claws scraping against the building's walls. Bestial growls squeezed from deep within their throats, and distorted fragments of words, still clinging to human memory, mingled with the roar of the sandstorm.
Ben, traitor.
With trembling hands, I set the gospel recording on the deck. It was a 1955 recording. The Lord's light illuminates the darkness. A prayer and hymn voiced by the station's founder, Pastor Joseph Harmony. A faint glow seemed to reside on the surface of the record itself. It's now or never, I told myself. I flicked the microphone switch. The on-air light glowed red, intensely. Good evening. No, good morning. My voice trembled, yet surprisingly, it also carried a newfound strength. This is Radio Harmony. The time is 3:33 a.m. My name is. For a moment, I took a deep breath. 40 years of false memories raced through my mind with a violent headache. My life as Michael Davis, the struggling actor, All of it flashed by like a kaleidoscope. But I wouldn't run anymore. I was ready to shed the lie of who I was, Ben Morris. Outside, the monsters suddenly fell silent, as if they had been waiting for my confession. Their red eyes, all at once, turned to fix on me. 40 years ago, I made a grave mistake. I abandoned my comrades and ran. Tonight, I atone for that. The phone rang. I didn't pick up the receiver, but the caller's voice resonated through the room.
Well done, Ben. But a confession isn't enough. You must choose.
I know, I replied. You want me to free them, don't you?
Yes, but there's a price.
I began to play the gospel recording. A solemn hymn echoed through the station. Simultaneously, I continued speaking into the microphone. Listeners, what I'm about to tell you may be hard to believe, but it is all true. As the hymn intensified, the monsters outside began to groan in pain, as if the music was burning them. On October 31st, 1983, a religious cult called the Children of Harmony performed a ritual in this desert. They sought to summon angels. However, my voice caught in my throat. Flashbacks of that night vividly resurfaced. The cult leader's insane laughter, the desperate screams of the believers about to be sacrificed, and the horrifying, earth-shaking sound of it descending. However, what appeared was a demon. And the believers, they were turned into monsters. As the hymn reached its crescendo, the entire building began to vibrate violently as if something massive was surrounding the station, trying to crush it. Cracks appeared in the walls, and dust rained down from the ceiling. I was among them, and I, alone, escaped. I abandoned my comrades. The piercing sound of glass shattering. A hand with long claws reached in, scraping, but as long as the gospel music played, they couldn't fully enter. The music held them back, causing them agony. Tonight, I will tell the truth, and I will free them.
How?
The caller's voice questioned. In his tone, I sensed a faint hope and also a solemn resolve. Was it a test or a guide? I wondered for a moment. I took a deep breath. The answer was already clear. 40 years of nagging guilt. The cowardice of hiding in false memories. The time had come to put an end to it all. With my soul. After a long silence, the caller replied,
That is the only way. Your soul will break their curse. But you, too.
I know. I'll vanish. I spoke my final words into the microphone. Listeners, this is my final broadcast. If in the future someone should ever activate Radio Harmony again, please obey the 7 rules. Outside, I saw the monsters slowly beginning to revert to their human forms. After 40 years, the time for their liberation had finally come. Expressions of relief spread across their faces. And remember this, the truth can sometimes be terrifying, but it is far better than living in a lie. The moment the gospel music reached its crescendo, I made my final decision. Souls of the children of harmony, rest in peace. And forgive me. In that light, I saw them, no longer monsters. They were in their human forms, smiling. Families, elderly couples, children, all wore peaceful expressions. Their faces were filled with the joy of being freed from 40 years of suffering.
Thank you, Ben.
A woman said. It was Sarah Henderson. Her eyes were clear and serene.
Thanks to your courage, we can be free.
I abandoned you.
But you came back in the end. That's enough.
The light grew stronger. My body felt lighter. I could feel my physical form dissolving. There was no pain, only an overwhelming sense of peace.
Are you not afraid?
The caller's voice resonated gently. His voice held a hint of sadness, yet a definite satisfaction. No, I smiled. Finally, I can rest. When the morning sun lit up the desert, Radio Harmony was once again enveloped in silence. The building was empty. Broken window panes, scattered documents, and a silently spinning record. Yet, strangely, the air was pristine, as if years of accumulated malice and despair had finally been purifying. On the DJ booth's microphone, the last message was recorded for anyone who might discover this station in the future. This is Ben Morris's final testimony. If you are listening to this recording, please remember the 7 rules and do not repeat the tragedy that occurred in this place. The recording ended quietly. The wind blew through the desert, stirring up the sand around the station, and from afar, a faint sound could be heard: the chirping of birds. For the first time in 40 years, the song of life had returned to this place. The story of Radio Harmony had finally come to an end. But sometimes, travelers in the desert claim to hear a faint music mingled with the sound of the wind. Is it a hymn or a requiem singing of the soul's peace? The one who knew the truth and continued to tell it has now vanished with the wind. Only one thing was certain: Radio Harmony would never call out to people again. If anyone should ever discover this record in the future, here are the 7 rules. Never be alone between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Always confirm the caller's identity before answering the phone. Never open the door for those who knock twice. If you hear strange music inside the station, do not search for its source. Do not touch old recording tapes, especially those with handwritten labels. If you see shadows outside the window, never make eye contact. Never play track 86. It calls them. If these rules are broken, the tragedy of 40 years ago will repeat. But for now, there is no need to worry. They are free, and the truth has also been revealed. Radio Harmony found peace in eternal silence.